Hey, it is 9:11 coming up on 9:12. Robin Kepple from the Wyoming Game Fish is joining us now on the phone as Laramie Live on KWB continues this morning. And Robin, first of all, thank you for coming back on the show. We've got a big safety seminar coming up here in Laramie on Saturday, and I appreciate you filling our listening audience in. Large carnivore safety seminar, and a lot of this is based because it's going to be that time of year where you got some of your larger carnivores starting to come out of hibernation. Is that correct?
Well, it's correct. The bears are coming out of their winter dens, and combine that with people getting out into the backcountry more with the nicer weather. And, yeah, that's why we hold these workshops this time of year. It's an opportunity for people to learn some safety tips on how to avoid conflicts with these large carnivores.
Well, and that can be a scary thing for people because sometimes you sit there and plan and go, okay, I know how I would react until you get into that situation where you encounter a wolf or a grizzly bear or a mountain lion. If you're hunting or hiking, maybe you got a large backpacking trip planned. What are some of the tips that maybe are the most notable for people to really keep in mind?
Well, really, it's going to depend on the species. But, for example, with bears, one of the main things that people need to remember about bears, both black bears and grizzly bears, are that they are attracted to food, and keeping a clean camp is very important when you're in the backcountry, and keeping food out of your tent and keeping food just generally out of the reach of a bear is a very important tip to know in the backcountry. For any of these large carnivores, such as bears, mountain lions, or wolves, it's also real important for people to be aware of their surroundings. Watch for tracks and scat. Watch for other signs of these animals, and we'll teach you a lot of this information at this workshop.
Certainly, we're visiting with Robin Kepple from Wyoming Game Fish as we talk about the purpose of the Large Carnivore Safety Seminar going on this Saturday morning, 10 a.m. at the Berry Biodiversity Conservation Center at the corner of 10th and Lewis on the University of Wyoming campus. Now, if I'm out, say I'm out camping, and I haven't seen any wildlife, but I'm doing some food preparation, give me an example of some of the tips on what happens if maybe some of these animals are attracted by the smell of food being present, even if I haven't seen them. What are some of the tips that people need to heed?
Well, the one thing that always comes to mind is most people, when they go camping, they like to take bacon. Bacon's kind of a favorite camping food for a lot of people, and bacon is definitely a food that has a strong odor, one of the things that we love about it so much. But it's real important to clean up the area, wipe up bacon grease, and also it really helps to keep your cooking area away from where your sleeping area is. So if you cook bacon that morning and there's grease splattered around the campfire ring, you don't want your tent right next to that, because if a bear is attracted in by that smell, he's going to be right next to your tent. So you want to set your tent kind of far away from where your cooking area is.
Okay.
And keep your greasy foods and that sort of stuff out of your tent. You don't want to wear clothes that you cooked in. You don't want to wear those at night in your tent, because a bear will be attracted to that smell too. So really, cleanliness, it all comes back to keeping your campsite clean.
We're talking with Robin Kepple from Wyoming Game and Fish this morning. This is Laramie Live on KWB. I'm your host, David Settle, and Robin joining us on the phone. And this seminar going on this Saturday starts at 10 a.m. at the Berry Biodiversity Conservation Center, again, the corner of 10th and Lewis Streets on the University of Wyoming campus. And the seminar is free and open to all ages. I'm curious as to can you give us examples of the types of questions that you or your staff have fielded at some of these seminars? Maybe kind of give people in the listening audience an idea of things that you will be covering.
Well, one of the questions we get pretty regularly is about bear spray, and we will be covering how to use bear spray and the effectiveness of it and why we use it. We'll be covering all those issues. And we have these inert training canisters that they just spray out canned air, but they work exactly like a real bear spray. And we'll have those available for people to practice with. There's a safety mechanism on those, and you need to know how those come off and how they shoot. in the time of an emergency if you ever need one. And certainly real bear spray is not something you want to go out and practice with, so we have these training cans, and we will have those available at the seminar and do demonstrations for how those work.
All right, that's good to know, because that can always be key, especially if you're going in the wilderness, folks. This time of year with the bears coming out of hibernation, and entering your camp looking for food because they're hungry coming out of hibernation. You just never know when you're going to run across an encounter. What about encounters with wolves, or with a mountain lion? If you're on a backpacking trip or something, what are some of the tips with those animals? Because I know we've talked mostly about bears so far.
Well, again, it really goes back to being aware of your surroundings and looking for signs of the animals. Oftentimes, an animal such as a mountain lion, they tend to be stalkers, so you may not know they're in the area until you're face-to-face with one. But just being alert and watching for any signs. We're also going to talk about how to react if you do have an encounter with a bear or mountain lion or a wolf. And there are certain situations where you want to fight back. A good example of that is with a mountain lion. You always want to fight back if you're attacked by a mountain lion. Bears are a little different story, and again, we'll talk about that during the workshop.
About how long for the workshop on Saturday? About how long?
Oh, it'd probably run close to a couple hours. Should be done around noon.
But free, open to people of all ages, and so if you're somebody who really likes to get outdoors, and I know that is a popular feature of living here around Southeast Wyoming, folks, I encourage you to take advantage of this large carnivore safety seminar going on this Saturday, April 11th. 10 a.m. to about noon, a couple hours, but they'll teach you a lot, some demonstrations, certainly how to avoid potentially dangerous encounters. We want people to enjoy the outdoors and not be afraid to go outside, and so that's, I'm assuming, kind of why Game and Fish puts these on, so that, yes, you're aware of your surroundings, but, you don't want to make somebody afraid to actually enjoy the wilderness at the same time.
That's exactly right, and that's why we have these workshops, is to give people the tools and the understanding of these animals so that they can go out there and recreate with confidence and know when they should have their bear spray or other defenses with them, and just be able to go out there and enjoy themselves and not let the presence of these large carnivores scare them and keep them out of the backcountry.
It is the Wyoming Game and Fish Department's Living in Large Carnivore Country Seminar. Again, 10 a.m., last a couple hours, so about 10 to noon or so. Berry Biodiversity Conservation Center at the corner of 10th Street and Lewis Street on the University of Wyoming campus. Open to all ages, and it is free, so we encourage you to take advantage of free stuff. I always like free stuff, so if you are interested or planning outdoors trips, whether here in the near future or just sometime over the next couple of months, they do encourage you to just get yourself aware of what might happen if you do encounter any sort of wildlife, whether it be a bear or a wolf or a mountain lion, however it is, and that's why we're just kind of putting this information out. You can also find more information on this, including the date, time, location, at our website, KOWB1290.com. Robin, I know you got Tracy out there on the water yesterday with the fish. How did that go, by the way?
Oh, it was pretty windy. It was chilly out there, but Tracy did a great job. She was able to net a couple of the fish, and you got some good videos, so I guess you guys will be looking for that on the website.
Yeah, we will be looking for that on our site. I know she had showed me one of the pictures where she got fish that had some eggs, and it was squirting out the eggs at the same time. So she got a nice little action shot of that. So, folks, that was what I was joking with Tracy about earlier on the show this morning, but she'll be posting that, I think, sometime today on our website at KOWB1290.com. That's the address, KOWB1290.com. Robin, thanks so much for your time this morning. I greatly appreciate you filling in our listening audience, as always.
Well, thank you for having me.